Alright guys, so welcome to Contracts Making Tables and Displays. Your note sheet will look something like this for this lesson. So parts of it are there, parts of it are not. A lot of it comes from the worksheet because you need to know those things basically. But feel free to add extra notes in as we go because you might learn some things, okay? So we are going to be continuing to use the animals spreadsheet that we've been using. But before there, as we know, if I go ahead and run, sorry, new computer, this might take a minute, and I type animals table, the table of all of our animals pops up. Now, I have more or less copied this worksheet into your notes, but I'll still give you a copy of the worksheet, okay? So a sort function takes three pieces of information: a table, a column we want to sort the table by, declared using a string, and the order in which we want the columns sorted, declared using a Boolean. This sounds really complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. So I have two sets of code here. So the first one, I'm just going to copy it, take it to animals, and I'm going to hit by true. Okay, let's go ahead and read this code though that I pasted, and hopefully it's big enough. I know I can make this bigger. So we have sort, so we're sorting. We have the animals table. That's the name that we defined our whole table as. We defined it as animals table. And we're going to sort it by the species column, species. So if we see it goes cat, 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 and if we keep going, we'll see that dogs come next, and then later lizards and whatever, and true. Okay? So if I go by false, let me switch it to false. You'll see that it did in reverse order, Z to A instead of A to Z, okay? So again, sort takes a table. It takes a string. And it takes a Boolean. Okay, and these can be described as the domain of the function, okay? So it takes a table, a string, and a Boolean, and it produces a new table. Okay? So, true. So if I take the same command, and instead of animals, species, I'll go by name because it'll be easier to read. You'll see that it sorts them alphabetically, low to high. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And if I go false, it sorts them Z to A, or high to low. Okay. Now, suppose we want to sort the animal table by weeks, okay? So weeks, guys, remember weeks is how long it takes to get the animal adopted. So what would I need to change here to change it to weeks? Well, I'm still sorting the same table, so my table stays the same, but I'm not sorting by name anymore. I'm sorting by weeks. And let's just go ahead and run it. And I ran it by false, and we can see that Cujo took 30 weeks, Boo Boo took 24, and Bo took 10. So we can see the biggest numbers at top, and then the numbers get smaller as we go. And if I did it by true instead, then the numbers should be what? They should be smaller first. So same thing, Mittens took 1 week, and so did Wade and Toggle and all of these, okay? Test it out and write your thinking about quantitative columns at the end of your explanation of true or false before. So we just did that, we tested it, and we can see that weeks is a quantitative measurement because we can order it by weeks, okay? So which animal was quickest to be adopted? We can see that they are very tiny cats named Mittens, Wade, and then also a tiny dog named Toggle. We can tell they're tiny by their weight and also their age and their species, okay? Oddly, the tarantula named Snuggles only took 1 week too. Ugh. Not sure about that one, guys. Okay. So some functions produce numbers, some produce strings, others produce Boolean. What did sort produce? Okay. So, oops. So we haven't gone over this in great detail, but we did it a little bit last time. If I add 3 plus 3, right? So this is my equation. It's not a function quite, but I can show you how I can make this a function in a second. It's going to produce a number, okay? If I want it to be a function, I'm going to call it adder, and we're going to take a num number, and it's going to produce a number. Doc add 3 to a number, and we're going to take num plus 3. End. Okay, I'll run this again. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. I haven't used Pirate in a while. So I can go adder 4. Now what do you think adder 4 is going to result in? Well, it's going to result in 7. So in this case, my adder function took a number, that number being 4, and it produced a number. In this case, the number 7. And how do I know what it's going to do? Well, 4 is now num, and num plus 3 is 7. If I do adder 3, it's going to give me 6. Okay? So there's a bunch of these. We'll go over a lot of them in the next couple days. But that's an example of my adder function, which no longer exists. So let me delete that before it causes an error. But we were talking about sort. And sort, again, took the table name. It took a column name. And it took a Boolean. Okay, and what did it produce? Well, it produced a table. Okay, so the sort function, it takes in 3 pieces of data. It takes in a table, a string, and a Boolean, and it produces a table. Okay? And we can see that they wrote it here. They like to use the doubles. I did use doubles. Okay. Good job, me. Okay, and this is called a contract. Okay, a contract is a type of data that explains how a function works, so all coders understand it afterwards, and also it helps us be better coders by writing contracts first. You must write contracts in this class. Anytime you create a function, you have to write a contract. Okay, so each function begins with a name. So what is the name of the function? It is sort. Then it lists the data type required to satisfy its domain. So there's 3 data types for its domain, which are table, string, and Boolean. And then we always say what it'll produce. In this case, it's going to produce a table. This is the more like official formal way to write a table. If you're doing it in your workbook or your notes, it'll look like this. Okay, it's basically the same thing, except for we also explain what those things do. But this is the short way. This is how you'll write it in your code. Okay, suppose we wanted to sort animals' tables by legs, columns, to determine the number of legs an animal had. So we can fill in the blank with the code we use. Okay, so what is the name if we want to sort? Well, the name would be sort. And I can't write on this, so I'm just going to write in my code, right? Okay, it's going to be sort. And then it says, what is the table name? Well, what is the name of our table? Actually, I'll just do it here. So we're going to sort. What's the name of our table? It's animals table. We've been using that. Okay. And then we need a string. So we want to sort by legs column. And our legs column is called legs. Very easy. So I write legs. Now, right now I have an error. And that's an error because it needs to be a string. And remember, strings need quotations. Okay. And then I'm just going to put true. I forgot if it asked for true or false, but I'm just going to put it. Does it tell us which animal had the most legs? So most is the bottom of the list, so we'll go false. Okay. And we can see that Snuggles has the most legs because Snuggles has 8. Okay. So what did I do again? I used the sort function on the animals table. I sorted by legs, and I said false, which tells me from big to small. I want you to find out what animal has the least amount of legs. Go ahead, pause the video, try it on your own, and then check my answer. Okay, so to see the least number of legs, I'm just going to switch to true so I can see my listing backwards. And you will see that Billy here has 0 legs, and that made me curious, so I looked up. It's a snail. Lucky here sadly has only 3 legs, so something happened to Lucky. Not sure if he's so lucky. All right. But, yeah. We can skip these for now. All right. So again, what did the sort expression do? The sort put things in order, right? And what is the domain of the sort? It is table, string, Boolean. And what does that mean? What that really means is that these are the data that we have to give the function in order to get the output we want. And the range is the output of the table, okay? And you'll do a worksheet that will go over name, domain, and range. But every time we create a function, you need to have a name, domain, and range. Name is what you will name the function. Domain is the types of data it needs to intake, and range is the data it will produce, what will come out of the function. All right. You'll have this functions for worksheets table. Go ahead and, oh, is this the one we just did? Yeah, sorry, this is the one we just did. We can, yeah, this one. Okay, you'll have a different functions for table, which will teach you about the count function. Go ahead, fill that out, and when you're done, go ahead and show me, okay? And then, so pause the video, go ahead, do this worksheet. When you're done, come up, show me. You get stuck, come up and show me. Either way, come up and show me. Okay, and then we want to know how count is different than sort and how first n works. So go ahead, play with these. Okay, these are all in the worksheet. And this is where we're going to get a little bit more busy. We're going to compose with circles of evaluation. So we did circles of evaluation in the last video, but we used math to do it. And now we're going to see how it works with computers. Okay, so if I sort with first rows n, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this. So I'm running a sort function inside of first rows n. So what is the first function? First n rows. So where's my code? So I need to, I'll do it over here. First n rows, and in case we didn't know, first n rows takes a table, so I'll take animals table, and it takes a number, which I'll go with 5 actually. And what all it does is it gives me the first 5 results on that table, okay? Now by itself, this isn't that useful because the table is not sorted. However, if we sort a table, we can make this much more useful. We can say, who is the 5 animals with the least legs aren't that good. What are the 5 youngest animals, okay? So let's think about this. How can I find a table of youngest animals, okay? So we have sort. Okay, we're going to sort animals table. Okay, what category are we going to sort it by? We're going to sort it by age, and we want youngest first, so we'll go true. And if you see, I'll get a table and it'll show me all the babies that are 5 or 1. And that's great. But I can combine functions, okay? Why? Because what is this when it's finished? What is sort animals table age true? It's a table. It produces a table. The range is a table, right? This table it's producing is here. So any place that asks for a table, I can fill this table in instead. So I can do first n rows, and instead of animal table, I can delete that. I can do sort animals table by age and true. Okay. And you'll see that this whole sort function now becomes the first table, the first input to first n rows. So it's just going to give me the 5 youngest animals. And that's shown by this, oh, they actually did the same one except for 10. Oops, I didn't read it. And that's shown by this circle of evaluations diagram, just like we did with numbers. So there is an order of operations here. It works just like math, okay? Oh, and actually, yeah, let's do this, okay? Well, what if I wanted to know what species the youngest animals were? Well, we know that count has what as its domain? Count has a table and a column, right? So count animals table by species. Okay, and it'll tell me there's 11 cats, 15 dogs, 2 lizards, 2 rabbits, 1 snail, 1 tarantula. But that's the whole table. I don't want the whole table. I just want the youngest 5 animals. Well, remember this first n rows sort animals table age true 5. I know this is getting a little complicated. We'll explain how to fix that later too. Will give me the first 5 animals. And out of these 5 animals, I want to count just these ones. Well, what is the domain? Sorry, what is the range of first n rows? It's a table. So anywhere that asks for a table, I can fill in this. So instead of animals table, I can fill in just this table. and I'll get count cat 3, dog 1, snail 1. I guess I'll show you one trick. So one trick to make this easier to read, because I know it's getting hard to read, is everywhere you start a new function, you can bring it down a line and it becomes much easier to read. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake because I forgot to put species at the end here. See, this is why I said at the start of each one. There you go. Okay, so I got a table, I took the first n rows of it, and then I counted it by species. Okay. You'll have a circles evaluation worksheet to work through and to test it out. Okay. So the count function summarized the data for a single variable of a new table. So we took this very complicated piece of information of what are the five youngest animals in our table, and then count them by species. Okay, that's what count allowed us to do. It took them very easily, and then we can do some data visualization with things like bar charts and pie charts, which you'll do in a minute. Okay, now pie chart takes a table and a column name, right? So instead of counting, I could really place this with pie chart, for example, and I get a beautiful pie chart. Okay. So data visualization is very important in data science because it makes things easier to read, easier to understand. And it doesn't have to be just pie chart. We have bar charts and stuff too if you want to do it that way. Okay. Anything else we need here? Nope. Okay. I'm going to give you some practice activities and then we'll have a big review to go over all this in case you're struggling. At any time, just come up to my desk and I have no problem helping you. Okay? See you guys in the next video.